we had landed once on, gone up to Ham Hung and started up the valley towards chosen area. And at that time, my anticipation was that the war's about over and this is kind of a security mission, and that was confirmed by the kind of orders we were getting. With this kind of mission, we set up shop up in the valley there, and I collected up 2 or 3 jeeps to make a reconnaissance. I went up, going up in the mountains and visit with a Korean battalion and go up and look at another reservoir. And this is going to be our mission, you know, to protect those reservoirs and keep anybody from blowing them up and keep the roads open, this kind of thing. So I cruised around out there all day long with 3 jeeps and a Korean interpreter, and we stopped in villages and talked to people, and we get rumbles about some Chinese troops here and there without ever getting anything specific. And we got up to this schoolhouse up in the hills there where this South Korean battalion had its headquarters, and they had I guess a half a dozen Chinese there in their knitted blue suits, and they said that the Chinese said they were just volunteers to come help their friends, the North Koreans. And but the Korean told me, the Korean battalion commander told me that at that time, said this area is full of these people. Said they're we're convinced that they're here in organized units, these Chinese. And so with that we went on back, and still not thinking in terms of a major Chinese onfall up there, but that was obviously what it was, a forerunner. And in the process of the next few days, we picked up a whole bunch of, from various units around there, a whole bunches of Chinese, and had them there. And this is when Willoughby came over from Tokyo to prove that there was no Chinese over there, and he somehow convinced himself, he and his interpreters convinced themselves that there's nothing to this, and wouldn't believe that the Chinese were coming in. Obviously they were. Then right away we got the mission of moving on up towards the chosen reservoir and started up the valley, ran into some pretty heavy opposition a couple of times. Got on up on top of the plateau on the Marine Corps birthday. And we got up in that with the wind blowing. Got in the morning, none of the vehicles would start. Troopers had their nose turned white, big spots on them and fingers. Just absolutely unbelievable change in the temperature in 24 hours. A few nights later, it went down to 16 below zero. On November I had taken a bath in the river. It was that warm, and planned to move on up towards Coterie. We didn't move because the vehicle just wouldn't go. Everything just froze solid, and so we delayed everything a day, got our wits collected and got busy and went on up to Udam was out the far distant place. Top of the pass was Coterie. Yeah, that was it. Coterie, Hagaru, Udam. I was concerned just before we went up on the plateau, because as we approached the road that led up to the plateau, the little town down there at the kind of the foot of the pass, the railroad station, and the curve, the way the road curved, we had a lot of people on that road, and course, people off the side, the screening forces, moving along without any opposition. But there were a lot of tank tracks around, and I was concerned and admonished the aviators to get busy and find out where those tanks were, because we were pretty much exposed on that road, one of those Korean roads that built right up along the river bank and into another sharp rise, so you were kind of trapped on that road, and you had to be on that road with your jeeps, communication vehicles, and so forth, and not, or you couldn't operate. And they couldn't find the tanks, and we had some of the recon company with us, and they had 2 or 3 of their jeeps up ahead, and they ran headlong into a tank ambush up that road. And it was just around a bend where they couldn't quite, where we were, we couldn't quite see what was going on, but I moved up to, got the radio message and got up there to see what was going on, and they had kind of buried these tanks under debris and stuff in this entrance to this village. But this recon outfit had gone in on them so fast that they were still hiding, and in there closed up, some of them under the tanks, the crews, and they got a grenade down in 2 of the tanks before the guys even knew they were there. Then one of the tanks started out of there, and by this time I had come around the bend with my driver, and we had some anti-tank mines in the Jeep, which I had picked up when I got wind of these tanks, hoping that somehow we'd keep them from running over my whole column. I'll never forget this young Marine I had with me as a runner. He wasn't the smartest kid in the world, but he was a real gung-ho Marine in every other way. We had a couple of sandbags. I said, you put this mine in this sandbag, and I had already checked them out on how to operate it and so forth. And you go there, that culvert where the road is narrow, and if that tank starts down this road, I want you to put that thing under its tracks. And had the other kid on the other side to do the same thing. He was pretty smart. He knew exactly what he was going to do. Well, this kid thought I wanted him to hold it under that track while the tank ran over it. And he was really wide-eyed about that, so I could see something was wrong, and I made him tell me back what he was going to do. I said, no, that's not the way you do it. You put the thing there and you hightail it out of there. So Corsair came in. This tank was well up ahead. Corsair came in and hit him with a rocket, just knocked him. And then when he did that, another one started to wiggle. It was inside of a shack. So there were 5 of them there. And if we'd tarried, if that recon outfit had been the least bit slow and they'd gotten themselves organized in time, they could have really killed us. We really didn't have anything to fight them with. We didn't have any good weaponry at that time that would knock those tanks out. These were the T-34s or something, and whatever we had was too light to handle them. Oh, we had those recoilless rifles, a small recoilless rifle. It wouldn't handle them. Our own tanks were still working their way up. They hadn't gotten up that far yet.